you. Good morning, everyone, and welcome to this session that is named Talented and Entrepreneurial Women in the Age of Data and AI. So as you know, artificial intelligence and data are transforming our economies, our public institutions, and also the way we live and work. But technology alone is not enough. The real challenge is ensuring that innovation can generate trust, can create opportunities, and also includes diverse talent. So today we have the privilege of having with us three remarkable women who are helping shape Spain's digital future through different perspectives. The perspective of data governance, of digital strategy, and of trustworthy AI. So I welcome here in the stage, in the first place, Alicia Nieto, who is the technical advisor at the General Directorate of Data. Also, Lucía Latorre, who is the senior consultant at the Spain Digital and Internationalization Office in CEDIA, and Eva Vázquez, who is the technical advisor in the legal division of the Spanish Agency for the Supervision of AI, AESIA. Thank you all for coming here. And let's start the first part of this conversation by exploring the opportunities and risks that artificial intelligence and data create for governments, for society, and for businesses, in order to put a little bit into perspective how is the current situation. So I will start with Alicia. So we say that data is often described as the fuel that powers AI. From your perspective, what do you think is the biggest challenge that public institutions face while ensuring that, or trying to unlock the value of data, but also ensuring that it is trustworthy and has a good governance?
Well, thank you very much, Christina, for such a nice presentation. It's a pleasure for me being here. Talking about the theme you're treating here, I think that public institutions and the government should be focused, and I think we're going that way, on that path, on the incentives. I think incentives are crucial here because talking about sharing data or open data or using data to train, I don't like the expression fuel because, fuel, you can read of it, but to train AI, those institutions or organizations that are going to share data or to put data open are going to face or has to face right now all the cost, all the legal aspects, or even, the reputation of doing all of that. So whereas the value will go from outside, from these citizens, these institutions, those companies that are going to use the data that's already shared by the previous organizations. So where the government take part, and the main thing that they have to do, that we have to do to face, is to flip this framework, and that's where the incentives comes here. First of all, it's important to reduce the cost to give or to provide these algorithms, these tools. Second, to protect the private, the personal aspects, to protect these institutions, this personal thing. And the third part is that let's make the reuse rate, for example, reuse rate for this data that's open, that actually counts. These are three terms related to incentives that I think that the governments should be focused on, and we are focused on.
Thank you. And Lucía, we know that Spain has made the digital transformation a strategic priority, as it has taken initiatives such as the Spain Digital Agenda. Looking ahead, what opportunities do you see for Spain to position itself as a leader of European AI in the digital economy?
Thank you, Christina, and thank you for the question and for the invitation to participate here today. Well, I don't know if everyone here knows, but Spain has been the first country in Europe to set a supervision AI agency called AESIA, and we have here Eva today representing. We also were the first country to launch an AI sandbox in order to help 12 companies adapt and comply with the European law. And we also presented the law for good use and governance of AI here in Spain. So I think we are in a good position to be one, if not the leader or one of the leaders in Europe in AI. And I think this is also an opportunity for our companies to become competitive in the European space. On the other hand, we are also positioning ourselves to become trustworthy, to become or have an important role in the trustworthy AI, because we also hosted here in our country, in Valencia, the AI Humanity Lab from the UN, where the UN is going to manage everything related to AI governance worldwide. And we also promoted a UN resolution in order to set up a scientific panel on AI that met for the first time here in Madrid. So I think we are in a good position, not only in the European arena, but also internationally. And this takes me to speak as well about the position of Spain to become a bridge between Europe and Latin America, and the Latin American region, because we are organizing a digital Ibero-American forum here in Madrid in November. And this is very important for us because, of course, we are sharing language, culture, and our AI models will have the same language in common. So, yes, I believe we have a great opportunity ahead. I think we could become, as I said before, the leader or part of these countries that are leading the AI in Europe, but not also in Europe, as well in other regions.
Thank you, Lucia. We see that Spain has definitely taken major steps to become this leader. And with these different programs, we know that, well, AI, the rapid development of AI, generates opportunities, but also has some risks. No? Alicia also talked about the fact to reduce costs, to ensure privacy in data, but also in AI there are some risks regarding accountability, regarding transparency. So, Eva, what do you see as the main challenge for responsible AI governance in the next years?
Well, first of all, thank you very much, and thank you for inviting me to this very interesting forum. I think that AI, as we know, has great potential. We've all been witnessing it. Healthcare systems, efficiency, whatever you name it, it's all across all the walks of life. Is being influenced by the evolution of AI, which means we have challenges ahead, as they were stating. We need to be not only keep pace with the evolution of AI, but we also want to be ahead of it. We want to be leaders in this field. So we have to take into account very seriously what risks we have here. And I'd like to point out that we can find two types of risks in AI. First of all, we have our existing risks that are being that are evolving through a magnifying glass because of the scope of the AI, the rapidness, the availability of tools. So these risks that already exist are being not only multiplied in a linear way, but also in an exponential way. So we have risks for democracy, we have risks for our values, risks for fundamental rights, risks in all orders of society, and also social behavior is changing. So first of all, we have to take a look at those risks and the way they're scaling in our lives. But also we have new types of risks. We have new questions that are arising. We have new ethical problems to face. How much of the human power are we ready to give up to machines? How much human control do you want to give? How much of our values are we ready to give up? And what side effects are we ready to accept, and what side effects we're not ready to accept? And this is a big question right now. So we have we have room for debate. And this debate is taking place not only locally. We can find our neighbors discussing this item on bars. We have regional, international debate with the United Nations, the OECD, the Council of Europe, like making forums and thinking really about all these issues. But also we have other instances, like, for example, recently we have witnessed how the Pope has set out his encyclical, where he wants to point out that debate. Is it a technical challenge, or is this an ethical challenge? And I think the response has to be through three types of things. First of all, regulation. Regulation is very important to give out a trustworthy, an IA we can trust to use and to be used on us, and to monitor how we're doing. So we need regulation, but we need social awareness, and we also need compromise by the society, the public sector, the institutions, and also the private sector.
Thank you, Eva. I think you've raised some interesting issues. And now that we know the current landscape about the main opportunities and challenges, we are aware, of course, that there are challenges, but I think we must not remain negative. In fact, I think we can all agree that in the public institutions we are positive about this digital transformation we are living. So I think that now that we know the situation, the question that naturally arises is what are we doing in the public institutions in order to take these opportunities to benefit society and minimize the risks and the challenges. So Alicia, what are governments doing, or what should governments and public institutions do and prioritize today to build a strong data culture and governance?
That's a very good question, Christina. First of all, let's talk a little bit about data quality, because sometimes here in public organizations, but in the whole IT sector, STEM and so on, we look at data as a sub-product for the whole production process, but not an actual strategic asset itself. So we have to change our mind. It's more like a cultural thing than a technical part, but let's start from this part. And then one thing that I would like to remark is the data quality aspects, and let me explain myself. Data quality, it's conceptualized sometimes, unfortunately, as an ethereal, abstract thing, but it's actually quantitative, and it's numerical, and it's measurable. Data quality has dimensions, it has completeness, it has accuracy, it has timeliness, and so on more. So from the government, we should ensure, and we should work, we are going that way, the same as this previous question, that each data set that is shared, that is open up, that goes in a data space, it's got quality indicators, enough quality indicators, like is it AI ready, for example, is a quality indicator that should be done, and that's where the government takes in, and we will be focused on that. Let's build and let's calculate quality indicators on the data sets to, that's the way that I personally think.
Mm-hmm. Of course. And Lucia, what actions do you think are having the greatest impact in retaining digital talent and innovation in Spain today?
I believe that the government of Spain is working very hard to promote the digital transformation of our country, not only in startups and innovation, but also in small and medium companies. For example, we have Red.es that launched Kit Digital to support SMEs and help them adopt digital tools. But regarding the digitalization of talent, the first step would be to make everyone familiar and comfortable using digital tools. We have issued different trainings and courses, and we can say today that more than 4 million people attended these digital skills courses, and we have over 200,000 coming up. So I believe we are doing a good job regarding the training of digital skills, and I believe your digital subdirectory is working on that, and I am proud to say that we did, I believe, a good job. Regarding the connection and the promotion of startups and innovation, I believe scenarios like this, like the South Summit, are key for startups to connect with investors, with clients, and of course with different corporates in order to expand their services and share what they are doing with potential clients. But I also believe that the public-private collaboration is essential. It is very important that we work as one ecosystem, not only individually and working differently regarding the digital transformation of our country, but that we work together, that we connect. This is why I'm happy to be here, and I am happy to work promoting this type of collaborations, because I believe it is the key of digitalizing our economy.
Yes, I think that the thing that you mentioned about training is very important, because we think that because we use technology or because we use generative AI tools such as ChatGPT, we already know how to use technology, but the fact is that we need to learn really what's behind this type of technology, what's behind the programming, in order to use it in an ethical and responsible way. No? So this is why, even if we think that the young people are already digital natives, no? They are using technology, but sometimes they don't know how to use it responsibly, because they don't know what's behind. So training is particularly very important. And Eva, AESIA is becoming a key institution. As Lucia said, it's the first agency for supervision of AI in the European Union. It's in Spain. And what are the projects and main priorities that you are focusing on in order to ensure that AI is trustworthy and responsible?
Well, first of all, let me point out that trustworthy AI, human-focused AI, but also competitive AI, is a strategic guideline that the government has given us. So we have to look very carefully at these three edges of our three ways of assessing AI. So, and this goal is informing all of our actions. So since we are quite a young institution, we are actually working on this, and we are learning as we walk along in a reality that's also changing as we walk along. So let me just point out what are our main areas of action and what we're, just a simple phrase, what we're doing. First of all, one of our goals is to do market surveillance. That means we have to monitor how AI is being used. We have to detect if there are prohibited uses of AI going on. Also, if the risks, the high-risk AI systems, if they're going to comply with European Union legislation. But also, we have to be very vigilant of our values if they're being respected in the use of AI. So we need to supervise whether biases are being put into action. Equality of opportunities is also one of our main goals in our surveillance function or responsibility. We have another responsibility, and that is literacy, as they mentioned before, because it is very important for our workforce, for our students, for our society, for our vulnerable population to gain knowledge about all these matters. So we have campaigns going on. Recently we've signed an agreement with INCIBE to launch a campaign. We are contacting universities, and we are working on a material to actually give out to population and to companies to ensure that they know what's going on. Also, another thing that we focus on is on innovative studies. We have launched an idea lab in order to gain knowledge through contacting all of the society to what's going on, what trends are going to be real in the near future, in the long term, and to prepare ourselves for those novelties. So we're in close contact with academia, with social representatives, with labor representatives, and all that, in order to gain knowledge for ourselves, for our institutions, to make better decisions. And also we have to support our economy in this process. So we have another branch of activity, which is focused on competitive AI. So we support our companies. We're building a sandbox to prove and to test new AI systems. We are collaborating on building an AI ecosystem, an open source community. So that's another very important role we're playing. And finally, we have an institutional and international engagement, because we are a point of contact between Spanish authorities, either of products and markets, but also of fundamental rights authorities, such as the judicial authorities, the financial authorities, because AI is something that affects all of us. So we need to stay in touch with all those authorities, and also we lead some international activity with all of these representatives throughout all the institutions, the United Nations, the European Union. So that's more or less what we're working on.
Thank you, Eva. It's a lot that you're working on. And I think I recommend you all to keep in mind really this AESIA, Agencia Española de Supervisión de Inteligencia Artificial, because although it's, yeah, as Eva said, it's a newly created institution, it is becoming really a key team player in the AI ecosystem. And I'm sure you will hear a lot about this institution in the coming years. So well, now we have talked about technology. We have talked about also the importance of talent, of literacy, and because they are deeply connected. And this brings us to the last part of our conversation, which is talking about also the role that women play in this digital transformation. Because, well, despite significant progress, we know that women remain underrepresented in many technological sectors. So, Lucia, in your experience, what measures do you think are most effective in attracting female talent in this digital ecosystem?
Thank you, Christina. In my opinion, what I believe is more important of all is representation. Here we have 4 women, and I think this is a perfect representation of women participating in the digital economy. We organized, from the Secretary of State, we organized an event in February. I think Christina was moderating one of the tables. And we invited not only women professionals, but also girls that were in school and in high school that came and presented the projects. I believe this is very important because from early stage, girls need to understand and need to know that technology is a place where they can belong, where they can be and they can grow. And this is important because having a role model that they can admire and that they can see as a future career path is very important. In our Secretary of State is a woman, the 3 general directors are women, and my boss that is here as well, she's also a woman. So representation in our ministry is very important, and I believe that is the first step, to have role models to follow. Of course, having a STEM education for girls, not only in universities, but as I said, from school, is also very important because in the end, when you don't know something, you might be afraid of it, you might maybe don't understand it, so it is important that we start introducing technology at an early stage and encouraging women, girls, and teenagers to come into this workforce. So my opinion is that we are doing a good job. We are here representing women working on technology and on digital economy, and I think we should follow. And I also see that in the audience, we have maybe a 70% of women listening to us today. I would love for the following year, if we repeat this roundtable, that we would have more men involved, because I believe that the only way of making women representation in the digital workforce is by the collaboration of all the ecosystem. Thank you.
Yeah, so true. And Eva, regarding AI, we know that AI has the potential to create opportunities, but it can also amplify structural biases that already exist and also create new forms of digital violence. So what is your agency, AESIA, working on in order to promote that AI can generate opportunities and not be part of the problem, especially for women and girls, no, with biases?
Well, as I said before, the risks in AI, one of the risks is that they scale actual risks, and the risks that women are facing in our society are well known. We have violence, we have lack of representation, we have discrimination, and all these things are being magnified by AI. We have a reality, and let me just point out a couple of things. In 2024, the European Union ran a massive survey on women of the European Union and found out that 1 in every 3 women in Europe were either experienced physical or sexual violence. Also, 1 in every 3 women in Europe experienced sexual harassment at work, which is pretty amazing. So we have this reality and we have this risk, which is escalating not only because of the potential of AI, but also because of the accessibility, because the tools are very accessible and because it's very easy to use. Let me just mention the recent case of Grok, which meant I heard a study that said that every minute there was a non-consensual notification online, every single minute. So, and this affected mostly women and girls. So I think this problem we're facing is very important. So what is ISEA doing? First of all, we have in the backbone of our activity in our statute the principle of being very careful with non-discrimination and with equality of opportunity. So these principles inform every single aspect of our activity. But we also do specific, we do specific actions to tackle this risk. First of all, as I mentioned before, we've just launched an idea lab that wants to raise questions and detect and also propose lines of action to tackle this AI problems. And the first task that this idea lab has been given by ISEA is women and AI. Also, we have another priorities like misinformation, like minors, and like the labor market. But women and AI have already, this group of people are already right now starting to study our reality to propose measures. And also, we have recently signed an agreement with the Spanish Institute for Women, who have experience, expertise, and we want to sum up our forces to tackle this problem. And we want to study what's going on and also coordinate us to be able to offer solutions, prevention and elimination of discrimination and violence.
Thank you, Eva. So we're running a bit out of time. So Alicia, if you can tell us in maybe 30 seconds what is a key measure in order to ensure that women also lead this digital transformation, no?
Okay, 30 seconds, very quick. My colleague Lucia talked about this beginning of the career, where it's very important to be sure that all of that, young people has to choose the career, choose a STEM discipline. But talking about leadership, it's crucial the middle part of the professional career of a woman, around their 30s and their 40s, where sometimes, unfortunately, we are still facing the problem that those projects that can make you shine are assigned to men. Women are more on a behind-the-scenes part, on a more continuous, also important, but not a shining moment, not that project that can make you before and after on your career. So governments and all institutions on all sectors, we have to be sure that women are on those strategic moments and on those strategic projects. So let's work on that, please.
Thank you. So, well, we are finalizing this conversation, which I think made us all really think about the current landscape we're living with all this digital transformation of AI and data. Thank you very much to our speakers, to our panelists for their valuable insights. And thank you all for coming today. And if I can say just one key takeaway that we can take from this conversation is that the future of AI will not only be about technology, but also about the people who design it, govern it, and lead it. Thank you very much.
Thank you.